Welcome back to the Scoop College Basketball Podcast. We are back with another conference preview. This time we are previewing the WAC, which is the last truly Western conference that we haven't previewed yet. So then we're moving to the Midwest after that. But yeah, the WAC is today, and it was actually a very good league last year. Might fall off a little bit this year, but last year it was ranked the 11th strongest conference in KenPom. Grand Canyon, they were the conference tournament winners. They were 14th seed. They lost to Gonzaga, and they had some other solid teams too. Sam Houston State and Utah Valley both won games in the NIT. So, Cal, what are your first thoughts on the WAC?
This year, yeah, definitely taking a step down, but Utah Valley was so good last year, and they lost that infamous triple overtime game to Southern Utah where they were up like 30.
I don't think was it even like overtime, or did it just
You know
come?
what?
I
Yeah,
don't.
maybe it wasn't even overtime.
I remember like switching the game to like another channel
I don't
because
think
that
it
was
was.
it was like I thought it was over, but that was a game.
Yeah, it was something. But Grand Canyon wasn't even bad last year either, so they were a good representative. They played pretty well against Gonzaga for the first half. Yeah, that's what happens. They'll just pull away. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, there's some fun teams, I think, this year even. However, like past 1 through 4, it gets pretty rough. That's
Yeah.
where I see the biggest drop off.
Yeah, I agree. But the members, all conference members from last year, Ray Harrison, he is back at Grand Canyon. Quay Grant was the player of the year from Sam Houston State. He exhausted his eligibility. Cam Tyson is back at Seattle. Tavian Jones exhausted his eligibility from Southern Utah. Aziz Bandago transferred to Cincinnati. Latrey Darthur transferred to Oklahoma. And Trey Woodbury exhausted his eligibility. Those were all Utah Valley guys. And Justin Johnson from UT Rio Grande Valley exhausts eligibility. That was the first team because the WAC one of those weird conferences that does a non-five member first team. They also do a non-five member second team because Taron Armstrong started his pro career. Gabe McLaughlin is back at Grand Canyon. Dante Powers exhausted his eligibility. Riley Grigsby exhausted his eligibility. Mason Fawcett exhausted his eligibility. Sid Adrian Hall is back at Stephen F. Austin. Freddie Hicks transferred to Arkansas State, and Cameron Gooden exhausts his eligibility. So a lot of leaving talent in the conference, and more leaving talent because there's some teams that also left the conference altogether. Sam Houston State and New Mexico State are now in Conference USA. New Mexico State has owned the WAC for the past few years for a while, honestly. Not this year. This year was a disaster, but Sam Houston State was really good. They beat a few high major teams in non-con. We're still really getting conference play. I won a game in NIT, as I previously mentioned. But there are some new coaches as well in the conference. A lot of movement here and there and wherever. But Rob Jeter is taking the Southern Utah job coming from Western Illinois. He is replacing Todd Simon, who left to take the Bowling Green job. KT Turner at UT Arlington. He's been a high major assistant for some pretty good teams. He is replacing Greg Young, who was fired last year by UT Arlington. Todd Phillips is replacing Marv Matson at Utah Valley. Phillips was the associate head coach there, so not super new to the team, but he is working with a very new team this year. So yeah, those are the coaches. Do you have any thoughts about those, or do we want to get into our all
Yeah, I
conference
mean, I
teams?
like a lot of the hires. Besides, well, we were pretty negative on Rob Jeter, and if
Yeah,
you look at Rob
it was an
Jeter,
odd hire.
and I was just looking at his roster this year, and all the worries we had early on, like they all came true. His
Yeah,
team looks like a
it's
literal high school team full of recruits. Like it's really bad. Like I was
yeah,
struggling to find upside. I did find somebody, but man, it
it's
was rough.
it's interesting, but for our all conference first teams, I'm assuming we both have Ray Harrison on there.
Yeah.
Was he your player of the year?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was not my player of the year, but he was on my first team. My player of the year was Cam Tyson. It was probably you had in your first team as well. Yeah, I
Yeah. I
think
went with the 3 guard setup. Yeah.
yeah, I think he's just going to get his more share of offensive touches as
Sure.
well as Grand Canyon's just so stacked that Tyson definitely has a chance to put up bigger numbers, even though Harrison might be a little bit better. Tyson can really shoot it though.
Hmm.
Really puts
Yeah,
up
now
shots.
you say that, and now Grigsby's gone and stuff. I think Tyson's probably my pick too. But
Yeah, Harrison, it was close.
at the same time, I have Philip Russell on my first team as
I
well.
have him as well. Not sure if he'll get a waiver this year, but I did have him in my first team.
Hmm.
Um, I also had Sadadrian Hall, Day Day Hall from Stephen F. Austin, and then Gabe McLaughlin
Yep,
rounding it out. So we have five first team.
my
It was
exact first
yeah,
team.
it was. We're on the same page here. I doubt we have same second team because I have a guy you probably did not have on any of your teams. But one the guy I did have is Drake Allen.
Yes,
Do you have him on your
love
second
Drake
team?
Allen, man.
Yes. Very
Um,
solid starter, not new to the conference at all.
I was a big fan of that Southern Utah team last year. Him and Tavion made up a great backcourt. Drake Allen's
Yes.
very efficient, makes great decisions with the ball. I think he's going to fit Utah Valley like a glove. Again, they're looking for guards, so he's going to fit right in.
Yeah, I'm guessing
But
you don't have this guy in your all conference teams. It's Dominique Daniels Jr. From Cal Baptist. He is a JUCO point guard, can really score the ball, put up some huge numbers at, I don't remember what junior college it was, like San Bernardino Valley, something like that. But
yeah, I would have loved to have seen Cal Baptist roster, but their 23-24 roster consists of everyone from last year.
is it not
And the
up?
roster is not updated.
Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't. Um, is it not up? That's
I
yeah,
don't think
it's
so. Their women's roster's up.
they should get their men's roster up, but he's good. Who else do you have then?
So I have Latrell Jossell from SF Austin. I really like him a lot. He was very efficient last year. He's from Kansas 2 years ago, I believe.
Mm,
SF Austin has a lot of guards, but I feel like he's the guy out of all of them. They have AJ Cajastay as well, who's
yeah,
solid as well.
that's the direction I went. I have
Um,
Cadre on my second team. So
yeah, it was either him or Cajastay. I seem to like Jossell a little more, but we'll see.
yeah, Cadre is more of like a point guard.
Yeah.
Josell is more of like a scoring guard. So
Hmm.
just I know a lot of people are high on Cadre for a breakout season. I also had Javon Blackshear
Yep.
on my second
I have him.
team. And then a fifth member, I had Emmanuel Allen for Abilene Christian. They have a lot of like solid guys that were in contention, so I went with him. I liked his numbers I saw last season. Um, who
I
was
have
your fifth
Shamar
member?
Wilson from UT Arlington as my
Okay.
four, and then I have Arian Simmons as my five from Abilene Christian.
Okay. I
Um,
had I had Wilson on my third team.
I didn't
Um,
include a third team, but
okay.
I
It was
should have.
hard it was hard to come up for a third team. So I'm just gonna list who I had. I had Alex Schumacher, Seattle's
Yeah.
point guard. I had Colin Moore from Grand Canyon. Ja'Cory Smith from Tarleton.
Okay.
And then Zach Wright still from Cal Baptist.
Yeah.
Um,
At Tarleton's another roster I could not find. Uh,
yeah. So moving to our top 10 transfers, Russell is a pretty easy one, I believe.
yeah.
Um, I had Wright still at two. I mean, he
Oh,
was
okay.
an AI player of the year 2 years ago. Like, didn't was like hurt all season at Marquette. I think he's like fine athletically, defensively, can really make that jump. And I mean, he was high major player. He just
He's from
didn't really get a
Baptist,
chance.
right?
Yeah.
Baptist, that's the thing. Like, that's a roster I wanted to see because they always bring in good talent. Like, they've had a history of bringing in Australian guys. They bring in Brantley Stevenson as well, who I have on here that I knew was on that roster. But yeah, no, I probably would have had him higher if that. I had Drake Allen at two, but
Okay. I had Allen at three.
mm-hmm.
And then who did you have at three then?
I call him or
Okay, I had him at four. Who'd you have at four then?
Brantley Stevenson.
Okay, I had Stevenson at eight. He's pretty good. He's played for a pretty bad Cal
Yeah,
Poly team.
exactly. I feel like he's going to be better this year with like not being on one of the worst offensive teams in the country.
Yeah. Number five, I had Trevin Dorius.
I had
from Utah
Tyon
State.
Grant Foster
Okay.
from Grand Canyon.
I didn't know what to do with him because he hasn't played in like 2 years. I don't know like where he is now, but like he has the potential to be number one in this list. I did not put him on here because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much uncertainty surrounding him. But
There is.
this guy is the limit for him and what he could potentially be. Did you have Dorius on your
Yeah,
list?
number 6.
Okay. Six, I had DeJuan Gordon,
Yeah,
transferring to UT
so I
Arlington.
had Tanner Toolson from Utah Valley. I think
Okay.
very highly of him, and I had DeJuan Gordon at 8.
Okay. Yeah, Tillison's a solid pickup for Utah Valley, going to get minutes for sure. At seven, I had Kendall Coleman. He's another guy I don't know about the waiver situation, but was really a monster rebounding, scoring inside at Northwestern State. Didn't really do that good at LSU, but I mean, he's moving down to a lower level. So I don't think he'll be eligible unless I don't know the situation surrounding that, but
So
I think
yeah, I'm
he's
a
a good
fan
pickup.
of Beon Riley from Utah Tech. I think he's in for a big season. Utah Tech lost a lot of production last year. So he's gonna be in for a big season. He's from Hawaii.
Yeah.
He's 6'6", good defender. Averaged like 4 points a game, but I could see a big jump. He's on my breakout list as well,
Okay.
for that
So
reason.
that was number seven
9,
for you? Okay,
9.
nine. Okay, number nine, I have Luke Wurr for Grand Canyon coming from Oregon. Really should make his presence felt physically, athletically in the WAC. And
I
number
put
10,
Sidney Curry at 10. Yeah,
okay.
I think he's from Louisville. He's a
He
big.
was on my consideration list. But number 10, I had D'Anthony Tipler from UT Rio Grande Valley. He can shoot the ball. Um, yeah, I mean that's his main attribute, shooting the ball, which is he had a little bit of a down season at East Tennessee State, but was really good shooting at Coastal Carolina. So that
Mhm.
is why I had him there. Let's see. We already said everyone your lists, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So breakout players. We can move to that. I have Hunter Jack Madden from Abilene Christian. I think he's going to be their primary point guard. So he's going to get that starting role, get that starting minutes. I think he was pretty good when he played last year. So I'm going to put him at one of my breakout players.
Yeah, no, they're definitely a team. I have very mixed opinions about. I have Vasha Panza from Seattle U as my number one. He's someone 6'8". He's from. I don't think he played a lot. He got hurt last year early on. And he looked good in the first couple of games that he played. I think he's going to be battling for front court minutes with that one Chatfield. He's definitely going to be playing. And they have some other Serbian guys as well. But I feel like he's going to get a lot of minutes. He has a lot of passing skills. He had some really good numbers overseas. Really good passer. He can score the rock. There seems to be a lot that I like from Vastra. So
Yeah. Let's see. Another player I have is Dalen Williams for UT Rio Grande Valley. Pretty skilled, big, like almost like a point forward type player. Think he has an opportunity to take the next jump just offensively overall. I threw him on. There wasn't a ton of like really good breakout players in the conference, honestly. But who was another one of
UT
your
Rio
players?
Grande Valley and how they run and their pace of
Yeah.
play, like he's probably gonna get a lot of fast break points. If he's
Hmm.
going forward, he could probably run the floor.
Yeah.
He's going to get probably a lot of easy buckets, so that's a really good pick. I just didn't really know much about their roster, and that's reflected in my standings. And their
Yeah.
coach is terrible. I am not a fan of their coach at all. I think they're really an AAU team. Just from
I thought
someone,
he was good at Austin P, wasn't he?
yeah, and they had a lot of talent last year. They did, and they really underperformed. Like Justin Johnson. They had that one shooter who I know transferred somewhere,
Yeah, Will
Will
Johnston.
Johnston, who was good. They just didn't
Yeah.
play any defense. They gave up like 80, 90 a game.
Yeah,
But
I
they
mean
were
they
fun to
played so
watch, though.
fast that that's
They
I
were
mean,
fun to
yeah.
watch, though.
They
They
did play
actually are a
fast.
team I did enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Um, they could be down like 15 with 2 minutes left, and they're like still in the game, kind of. Like I've seen
Hmm.
games where they would kind of come back. But my last breakout player is Dominique Ford for Southern Utah. He's a transfer from Idaho. He's 6'5". he has some good upside. He had some solid minutes last year, and on a team with ooh, rough roster. I feel like he's one guy who can get his shot off, and give them some good production, and is in for a pretty big jump. So
Yes. For another one of my breakout players, I had Brandon Talbot for whatever from UT Arlington. Think he's a pretty decent shooter off the bench. I'm not like I don't know. There wasn't a ton of like huge breakout players, so I had him. I had Jaden McClanahan for Utah Valley. I think he can maybe get a bigger role, which is really what this is about. And then my last breakout player, I had Scotty Washington for Cal Baptist, was a really high usage player last year, and I've seen him projected to get some more minutes this year. So if he gets minutes, I think the numbers will come for him there. Yeah, he took like he had a 31.1% shot shooting, yeah, not shooting percentage. That's percentage of shots he shot while on the floor. Wasn't like super efficient, but I mean,
yeah,
he,
you can work on that. Like, I don't, especially with breakout guys, you don't need them to be incredibly efficient yet. That'll
yeah,
come with more attempts.
yes. For my all freshman team, I have Braden Housley for Southern Utah. I think he's going to be their starting point guard. I believe he is a redshirt freshman, but I included him here. Um,
I have
did,
Jackson Holcomb from Utah Valley. He's someone I watched a lot of film on. He's someone I really love. He does a lot of things well. He's 6'7", can really handle the ball. He's extremely quick. So he actually went on a 2-year mission trip. So he was originally with Mark Matson's freshman class, but since he went on a 2-year let's find where we were.
Okay, so I had Braden Housley. I think I mean we already kind of went over that part, but he's probably going to be their starting point guard, redshirt freshman. They don't have a lot of players that have experience, and he at least has been in college for a year.
I had
Um,
Jackson Holcomb. He's
yeah.
a freshman. He went on a 2-year mission trip. He's part of Mark Matson's class of 2021, but he's very
Okay.
highly ranked in that class. 6'7" point guard. Can really shoot the ball. He's really quick, great passer, has some defensive skills that he can definitely build on going forward. He's a player that intrigues me a lot and should definitely compete for some minutes as he can really play as a guard, especially. So,
Okay. I had Eric Demings from Utah Tech. Did you include him?
I was looking at him. He's a winner. He
I mean, he
competed
played at Duncanville, I think,
right.
which
He
is like
played
a
against
pretty
Sierra Canyon, things like that. I looked at him. I didn't pick him. I have Malcolm Flags, who was my one red shirt on
okay.
here from
Okay.
Arizona
The,
State.
th- the thing about Flags, I don't think he'll really get the minutes. Like the roster is so low. Like Demings is going to
Yeah,
be the starting point guard.
that's true. There's a couple freshmen on Grand Canyon I could have picked from, but he seems to have the most size, and I feel like he can bring something defensively a little bit. And he's supposedly a pretty good shooter too. But
Okay.
anyway, I have Osiris Grady from Utah Valley.
Yeah, I had him as well.
4-star recruit.
Good athlete, pretty
Really
raw
good
still,
athlete.
but it
Very
might not be
raw.
like great right away. But he I think will be very good over the coming years.
He should be very good on the glass at least right away.
Mm,
So that'll be big for them.
yeah.
Then
Um.
for my freshman of the year, Tennessee Rainwater. I have from Utah
mm,
Tech. He looks really good. Like he's a memeable name, but like his highlight, he's so quick. Like he's 6'7". He could really shoot the ball. He's got really good athleticism. These dunks he was doing were like, I was like, what the? Where are these coming from? And again, you look at Utah Tech, like they're going to be looking for production, man. And I say that same thing. Like if there's ever an opportunity for him to get minutes, like I think he's pretty good. I definitely, obviously he's a memeable name, but I see a lot of upside in him, and he's got good size too. Like he's pretty big. I believe he's like 6'6", if not taller. So he's got a lot of guard skills as well. So
Yeah, well, I my final two members of the freshman team are both Tarleton State freshmen. I have Izzy Miles, who seems to be their starting point guard, and I also have Boo Boo Benjamin, who played for Canada on U19 this summer. I really liked what I saw from him there. I think he's a high level shot maker, athlete, and I think will is a little bit better than a normal Tarleton State freshman. So I included both of those guys there to round out all freshman team.
I do love Tarleton's coach. If I would have seen their roster, I probably would have had someone on here. But I do have Malik Gama from Seattle U. He's really athletic forward. Someone could really crash the glass. He's really athletic. He's a really good lob catcher. Gives them a good dimension of offense to maybe pair it with Tyson. And I feel like he's going to be battling for big minutes. Chatfield's all right. He's not that crazy. And then after Chatfield, it's kind of like a battle between, I think the guy Panza is more of a 4. So I think those minutes at the 5. Malakama's like 6'8", 6'9", but he plays like a center. He's definitely more of a
okay.
rim protector. He's an athlete. He was I believe high 3-star or 4-star. He had some good offers. He's from Washington. He's an in-state guy. And watching his highlights, he's someone who I think brings a pretty good skill set to Seattle. Someone really physical down low with good size. So
Okay. Moving forward now to our team reviews. Finishing last of the conference of the returning teams, New Mexico State finished last, but Utah Tech was the team that finished last out of everyone returning. I have them 10th this year out of 11 teams. Where do you have them?
I have them 8. I have them
Okay.
8. I don't actually hate their coach. I think their coach did a decent job last year, all things
Like they
considered.
they weren't really that bad. They just
No, they weren't. They played teams tough.
yeah.
They played Southern Utah really tough a couple times. Like, I was impressed with how they looked last year, although
They
they
beat
lose a
Seattle by
lot.
like 40 the last week of the season.
Yeah, they had some weird games, man.
Maybe
And
that's
I
why they're
feel
so high in
like
Ken Palm.
they have some room for upside this year if Bion. And then the one guy from what was that? He was just on your freshman team.
Demings, yeah, gonna be their
Demings, yeah.
starting point guard.
Demings is pretty solid. High 3-star. So I was looking at him, I saw Demings. Then after that, like I just don't know a
I mean,
ton.
Beyond Riley, you were talking about him.
Yeah, Bion's gonna definitely be, I feel like their number one guy. But then outside of that, there's just a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah. Noah Gonsalves was a
Yeah,
pretty decent
Gonzalez is
player for him
solid.
last year.
And they have a
Outside of
good
that,
center.
they
Their
had
center
some
is pretty good.
Tanner Christensen, he's
Tanner
pretty
Christensen's
solid.
solid.
They have some like JUCO guys too that like those are just kind of shots in the dark. I don't know if like they
Right,
weren't like
yeah,
amazing
just don't
JUCO
know.
guys, but they're also probably good enough to play a little bit. Um, so yeah, we'll see how that works. David Elliott could be a solid point guard off the bench for them there. Yeah,
Mhm.
really not a lot to say about the team.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they can even make the tournament yet.
No,
Um,
yeah,
so
they were formerly Dixie State, I believe, right?
they were, yeah, but they've
Hmm.
been D1 for like 3 years.
Yeah,
So
I
I
haven't been D1 for very long.
don't think they've had enough time. But one team that can make tournament because everyone else can except for Charleston State. But UT Rio Grande Valley could hypothetically make tournament, although they're not going to, because I have them ninth in the conference.
I have them 11th. Yeah, just not a lot I like here. There's definitely a couple guys that are I think there was someone from Simeon on there. So that kind of stood out to me. But besides that, I'm like, where did all their production go from last year? And it's all gone. And to begin with, they had a lot of talent with Justin Johnson, Will Johnston last year, and they still underachieved. They were competitive, sure, but they don't know how to win close games because they don't play defense. They're extremely foul happy. They've commit so many dumb fouls. I remember watching them last year and just just I don't even know what I was watching at times. And I feel like now that they have no talent or, a lot of guys that are younger. I think it's going to be really rough.
Yeah.
I have them last.
I don't think they're as bad as you say because I mean they did lose their backcourt, but they replaced it with Elijah Elliott, who put up some pretty decent numbers at JUCO, like 17 points per game at Blinn, which is respectable. And then Tipler, I think, is a pretty good Johnson replacement. He can really shoot the ball. So I think they will be a little worse than last year, but then they return like Sherman Brashear, who was like pretty inefficient but has potential there, like Dalen Williams, Aaron Freeman. And they have some like their bench is a lot of question marks, but there's some potential there. I still think they're not that good, but
They
I
just,
mean,
nah, they
yeah.
never have winning players. That's the problem. Like winning with UT Rio Grande Valley, like playing good basketball, has just always been a problem. Like,
Hmm.
so we'll see. I mean,
Yeah. Number 9 of the returning teams in the conference last year was Abilene Christian. I had them fifth this year. I think they're going to be a little bit better. Where do you
I
have
do have
them?
them a little higher than last year. I think they were very disappointing last year. I have them seven. Yeah, I have them
Okay.
seven. I think Cameron Steele's in for a better year. He was kind of off last year. He was good 2 years ago. He averaged like 10 a game 2 years ago. But then last
Okay.
year he took a step back in production. Yeah, no, they also have the Lee Hyun guy from Grand Canyon who transferred in
Yeah.
conference. He's there now. He's been disappointing as a recruit.
What was his nickname? It was like
The Irish Hulk. I
yeah, the
saw it.
Irish Hulk.
It's
I
pretty
remember that.
badass. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, too bad he's not actually
He
good at
just
basketball.
hasn't
He's
panned
huge
out
though.
at all.
He
Yeah,
is huge. That
he is
is
massive. Um, yeah, and there's just a lot of these guys. Mashai Hill was someone I was almost gonna put
mm-hmm.
on here. I like him a lot. I watched a bit of his highlights.
Yeah.
He's he was almost on my freshman team. I'll
Same.
updo Deba is someone I like as well.
Yeah.
I believe he got hurt for Chicago State 2 years ago.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
might have been. I remember him. I remember
He
that
won
he
WAC
transferred
freshman
there.
of the
Yeah.
week for 1 week, but in the games that he did play, he played well.
Okay.
And I feel like he's actually from Stockholm. He's from Sweden,
Yes, he
so
is.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
And they have
remember
Aaron
because
Simmons
I
back
was
as
gonna say
well.
about Dibba, like I made like an edit for him when he committed and like I had to like email it to him because like international people have like weird numbers or something. So
That's awesome.
because I don't know how that stuff works, but
hmm
yeah, yeah, I do remember him being international. But yeah, he's pretty good. Like their starting lineup is like solid. I mean, I don't know. I think they're gonna need to have a guy who be like take a real jump and be like D guy, which they didn't have last year. Like even
They've
the guys they lost, like there's
Even
like
when they made the tournament, man, that was a problem. They just never had the guy
yeah,
to take over. And the guys they did have were really inefficient.
mm-hmm,
Um, and I feel like that's just continually the problem with Abilene, and that's why I just can't put them very high. I had them at seven. Yeah.
yeah. Next up is UT Arlington. I have them eighth this year.
I have them at two. I love UT
Really,
Arlington
the
this
thing is,
year.
I'm not like buying into the fact that Russell really gets a waiver.
Yeah, I mean he was at SEMO. Then he was at what's his other school he was
He
at?
was at St. Louis first.
St. Louis, that's right. Okay.
Um,
Was that 2 years ago?
he played at SEMO for 2 years, so
Okay. But isn't it 3 and 3 years or just three transfers,
I
period?
mean, if he hasn't graduated, he can't play unless he gets a waiver.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the NCAA is waiting to the last possible second with every waiver decision in
Yeah.
college basketball, so that it just sucks.
There's like
Um,
only a little bit over a month left, and
if he does play, I mean, I don't think it's even crazy to think of them as a top three team. Like he makes that much of a difference. And they have a
yeah,
lot of talent on this roster. I was looking through it last night. They're a roster that does excite me.
yeah.
They have a lot of former Power Five guys. But then they also have some returners as well. So they have Aaron Cash, who's like a good
I
glue
mean, also a
guy.
former Power Five guy, 5 or 6.
Yeah. They have Shamar Wilson, who's back, who I had on my second team. DeJuan Gordon, I hated him at Mizzou, but he's quality player for the WAC, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Dwayne Caroma's from Iona. He's an intriguing guy. I don't think he's going to get a ton of minutes because they have a good front court. Because they also have Darius Miles from Western Kentucky, who seems to be someone that I might really like.
He didn't really play at Western Kentucky though. Like
Yeah,
I have him
that's
as
the
like their
thing.
13th guy. Like I don't think he's gonna be that good.
Yeah, I
But he
mean,
can maybe play here and there. Like he's a big
yeah,
guy.
like they don't have a besides Shamar. He's going to be competing with Bagastakis for minutes.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
he's more of like a guard, like wing.
yeah,
So
I think of him as a stretch four, but I mean, I don't know how much guard skills he has, but no,
he didn't really play at
Bagastakis,
Georgia Tech. So
yeah, he had good offers from Xavier and Georgia Tech, so
international guy. I
he
think
seems
played
to be
somewhat
someone I
international.
really
So
like. Dave
yeah,
Sterling got some Chapman from Tulsa as well, who's not great, but I
could
mean,
be decent.
backup guard, he'll be good there.
Fabio Basili.
Fabio Fili, who
He was
Kenny
bad.
Payne
He never
reject.
should have gone to Louisville though.
I
Like
know.
I don't think he's that bad. Like he could
He
be
had
good.
solid offers. He had offers from like a lot of other Power Fives, but he
Yeah, he
chose.
was like he was like going to reclass 2023, but then reclass back into 2022. So
And
I
you
don't
like
know.
this
And
kid Brandon Talbot. I didn't know much about
yeah, I
him.
mean he's just like kind of a bench shooter. Um,
Okay.
More like not really like
Yeah, I mean,
anything
if
that
Philip
moves
Russell
me.
plays, man, this is a roster I like a ton. Like
Yeah,
they have really good bigs, physical bigs. Um, and then
I
their guards, you have Philip Russell,
I think
Gordon's.
Akili Vinning could be pretty good too. He's
Yeah, I
a
see that.
non
He's
D1
someone that played
transfer.
for 4 years at
Put up some big numbers.
but yeah, he put up a lot of big numbers. They're a deep roster. Even if Russell doesn't play, I'd probably still have them like top five, top six. But I could see your concerns with the new coach. Like we got to see what KT Turner's made
Yeah,
of as
I
head
don't hate
coach.
it. There wasn't like a big gap between like five and like where I put them. But yeah. Next team is
Uh,
Cal Baptist, who I have fourth this year.
yeah, I hopped on the Cal Baptist hype train last year, and they
I did
disappointed
too.
me.
Yeah.
So I have them at six, and I
But
didn't have the roster in front of me either. So
but it's hard not to like what they have. Like
yeah, no, they're
Daniels really was able to score the ball. Like Stevenson is pretty solid player at a similar level ish. Reitzel NAIA player of the year. Like Hunter Goodrich is a solid four option.
they
Like
still have Reed Nottage, right?
no, they do not. I
Where'd
don't
he
think
go?
so. He went pro, but they do have Ivan Odrago, who, if Coleman doesn't play, is like a really solid like rebounder
Is
five.
Trey Armstrong still there?
No, all
They
both
both
Armstrongs
went.
went pro.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Blondio Chukengo is back. He was solid. Um, Obviously Scotty Washington breakout potentially. They
Yeah,
did
it's
lose a
just
lot, but
they
like
did. I mean, they lost like both of the Armstrongs. Reed Nottage was a solid player. They lost
yeah,
Quintana as well, who's a
he was good.
quality
He could shoot the
guard.
ball.
Um,
Lost
to
like
just
Riley Batten too.
to recycle all this production with, a lot of guys that were just banking on breakouts for like, yeah, they have a high ceiling, but the floor can also be pretty low too. And I definitely, their coach just could never get it done in big games either, it seemed like, in conference anyway. They played decent in non-con. They always play good in non-con. Like they played Washington. They beat Washington, I think. And they played Minnesota to the wire. Um, they played well in non-con last year, but then it just fell apart in conference play. Like they really disappointed there. I feel like if you fail with last year's roster, I can't be that high. So I had them at six.
Yeah. Did Ego Hefe ever go anywhere? He
Um,
entered a portal, but I don't know if he ever ended up anywhere. I'm trying to.
yeah, the Georgetown dude.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
where
if
he
he
went.
ever. He might
I
just.
feel like he's back then,
I
right?
mean, he entered a portal.
Mhm.
But I don't know if he just is not playing basketball anymore or
Hmm.
what the issue
Yeah,
was.
no,
But
he
I don't
seemed
know.
to
I
be
don't
an
think he's back.
intriguing
But
piece, but yeah,
yeah, wherever
him gone would
he.
also hurt.
I mean, he's basically the same player as Odrago, though, so they're not really
That's
losing a
true.
ton. But yeah, I think Daniel's gonna be really. He can score the ball. Like he's a smaller guard, but he can really put up numbers. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna buy in as much last year. I didn't like win the conference last year, but
Yeah, I
I
know.
think
A lot of
they can still
people
be solid.
really all in on them
They let me
last year.
down. If they're like bad this year, and I'm never gonna be behind them again. But I think there's still a lot of solid talent here. But
Hmm.
next is Tarleton State, who I have at 6 this year.
Okay. Yeah, I do love their coach, but again, like I was in the blind looking at this roster. Freddie Hicks is gone, which I knew. So I mean, I figured they had a solid freshman class. They are a Texas school after all, but I had them ninth. I just put them ninth.
But I feel like it doesn't matter who's on this roster because they're just gonna be like out tough you. Like that's what
They are,
Tarleton does.
man. That is so true. Like, I watched Tarleton a lot last year. I'd even say like they were a fun team to watch.
Like they're gonna be better than they think you are, even though I mean they
So
don't
true.
have like a great roster. They did have Adam Musa who played for Egypt in the World Cup. I don't know what he did, but he was a solid D2 transfer. Like Lou Williams, Ja'Cory Smith returning like starter options. Like Luke Davis, this guy averaged a double double at JUCO. So like I
There's
don't know. Like, I
something
don't know much
going.
about these guys honestly, but like
Mhm.
they're just probably gonna be better than you think they are.
Yeah, and they have a great coach. So, like
Hmm.
he does the most with less.
Yeah.
So, um, no,
No,
I
not
definitely,
he also did less with more at
yeah,
Kentucky.
true. Oh, yeah, no, I'm about to say, yeah. He's probably mid-major guy now.
Yeah,
So,
he's they're gonna out tough you though. That's gonna be true. Yeah, really not much to say about them. I like their freshman class. Izzy Miles is gonna be good. Boo Benjamin's gonna be good. I already kind of touched on that, but yeah.
mhm.
Next team on our list is Grand Canyon. We both have it one. Pretty easy.
Yeah, I
They
mean, honestly, diving into this roster even more, like, my goodness, this roster is loaded.
they're
Um,
just far and away the best team in the conference. Like Harrison, Blackshear in the backcourt, that's going to be amazing. Like Moore is like was really good at Georgia State when he finally got healthy. McLaughlin is an all conference guy. He's really old too. Like Curry is he wasn't that. I mean, he's a huge guy, like huge body in the paint. That's all I need him to be. They don't need him to do much besides just like be a force at the rim. Like Duke Brennan was played at every game at Arizona State as a freshman. Josh Baker was solid last year. Like Ty Grant Foster was like number one JUCO guy in the country at one point.
they're
Like
incredibly deep. Like, that's what stood
yeah,
out to me. Like, there's really not a bad
and like the
player on
top end
this
talent's so
roster.
good too. Like they're not just like deep with like all mid guys. Like their top
Like,
end
I know
talent
you
is like
had them at the back
great.
end of your top 100, but honestly, they could definitely finish even higher. Like,
I think they have a lot of potential.
Tyon Grant Foster, if he's anything that he was hyped up to be, especially, I think he's the
Mm,
guy that is the real X factor here. Like
yes.
6'7", 210.
I think he would have
Um,
been good DePaul too, but
yeah,
he obviously had a
definitely.
cardiac incident midway through his first game. Is
Jeez.
not ideal, but do
You
you
know
see they
what?
got a 4-star yesterday too in the 2024
Yeah,
class?
yeah, I heard
Styles
about that.
Phipps.
Hmm.
I haven't watched much on him, but I know if they land a 4-star, they're
How
probably
about
doing
this
something
guy
right
from
there.
Indonesia, the first Indonesian college guy
Yeah.
ever?
Derek Michael Xaviera.
Hey, NBA Global Academy, redshirt freshman, I think it says here.
Yeah, there are
That's cool.
it is. But yeah, they're loaded up and down. They have really weapons and offense.
This is
Um,
my favorite Grand Canyon team ever. Like,
for
they
sure.
need to, I want to see them win the conference, and then hopefully I'll have them as a Cinderella in March if things pan out. Like,
This is like a good offense.
it is,
The
man. And I think they'll be
defense,
better defensively than in years past. Again, guys like Locke were going to help
yeah.
with that. Tyon Grant Foster, I feel like has the
Like
tools to
those
be
guys
a
are
great
so
defender.
athletic. They're just like
Like,
so athletic and
last year they were
physical.
just small at some positions. And I feel like they have more size this year.
Yeah.
So hope they improve there because that was definitely their
Yes.
biggest weakness last year.
Yes. Yeah, they return a lot and they had really good transfers. Hard not to have them as first. Seattle is the next team. I have them second.
I had
Where
them
do you
third. Yeah, I had them third.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I think Cam Tyson obviously can really put up buckets. Schumacher was a solid double digit scorer, point guard last year. Then like the front court is more just like efficient, low usage guys. Like Chatfield is really efficient, but I don't know how like he's not like a guy that really wants scoring. I mean, he's just not like a high volume player.
Being Riley. Oh man. Oh, he drove me
um
up a wall last year, but he does
Say
some
Riley,
things
you mean?
well. Yeah. Say a
Yeah, like
Riley. He's
Kobe Williamson,
my
the
my
Red
team,
Mamba.
my profile pick for half of last year.
Yes. Paris Dawson's okay. John
Yeah.
Christophilus can really shoot the
I
ball
know,
coming over
I
from Creighton.
Creighton.
Yeah.
How about Fotopoulos from Chaminade?
Who?
Nico Fotopoulos. I'm just looking at the roster here.
I don't know. I don't have the
Redshirt
guy.
freshman, yeah, from Seattle.
I'm
Interesting
not
piece.
sure. I don't know if he's a scholarship player
Yeah,
or
Say
not.
Riley's a real glue guy. Victor Rakovic is solid. He's all right.
Yeah.
Brody Nunn, I don't know much about. From Melbourne, redshirt. Don't think he'll be playing much. And then you have Christophilus. Jazel Brown's another freshman they have. He's from
Okay.
Garfield. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, and then Paris Dawson's from Portland State. I don't love him. He's okay.
He was
Schumacher's
he
all
was really good
right.
as a freshman.
He was. I remember him as a freshman. He was very good then. I don't know. There's something about this roster. It's like Cam
Yeah.
Tyson needs to really prove it this year because he was frustrating last year. I'm not gonna lie to
He
you.
he
Like
he has his ups and downs. He wasn't always the most efficient times.
at
But
the
their
end
coach
of
is so good
last
too.
year, yeah, their
Chris
coach is
Victor is a
awesome.
great coach. Like
He's
that
awesome.
coaching tree with like him, like the Eastern Washington coaches like Legans, like David Riley, the like Idaho coaches from that tree too.
I do love Chris Victor for sure. Mm.
Yeah. So
But honestly, like I feel like top to bottom, if UT Arlington gets Philip Russell, I think their roster is a little bit deeper and better personally. But that's just me.
maybe
That's just me.
how many points per game do we think Tyson scores?
Oh man. 18 to 20. Could be more.
I think it could be more because Grigsby's gone. Like Grigsby was the other guy that
Grigsby
really
was a
scored the
really
ball.
good two option, even
So
though he
like
didn't have a huge year last year.
I think Tyson could average like 22, 23 points.
Yeah,
Like
because you think
he's gonna be
about it,
taking his shots.
Schumacher isn't a huge scorer.
No, he's
He's
not super
not.
efficient either. Like I'd rather have
No,
Tyson shooting it and
for
then like
sure. You just don't know where
he's
a ton of the scoring is going to come from outside of him. That's what I kind of worry about with this
yeah.
team. But yeah, it's all right. All right. Utah
Yeah.
Valley next.
So no, Stephen F. Austin's next.
Okay. I have them top five. I have them at five.
I have him third.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Um
I like the roster.
they
100%
return
I
a
like the
lot.
roster. A lot of guard depth.
Obviously Day Day Hall is gonna be really good. Frank Stain, I think, is a guy that could be solid as a transfer in conference transfer. Their bench is a lot of like JUCO guys, and like they also had
I have to be
Juwan
honest though
Stone,
with
who's
SF
Cal
Austin,
Baptist.
it's just another team that's been disappointing the last couple of years after being kind of
They were good last year though. Like they
yeah.
were 11-7 in conference.
They had a lot of good pieces. Like the last David Calcarees is from my area, and they never were really that good with him. They've had a lot of good players last couple of years, and I feel like it's been a little bit disappointing for their standards. But no, I feel like this year will definitely be a better year. And this is the deepest they've been at guard in a hot minute. With Giselle, Kajiste, who I like. Obviously, I like Nana Antwi Bosiako as
Mm-hmm.
he's probably their big
Yeah, I have
six
him
nine.
there.
They are a bit undersized at big. That's been a problem for them recently. They don't really run real center, but like I guess you'll have to cut it. Yeah, that's why their defense hasn't been, what it has been in the past. They're definitely a bit shaky on that end. And then they have Hall. Hall's definitely their best player. He's very
Yeah.
good. Then they have Jaleel Bouburn from Miami. Seems intriguing. He's also
I
6'9", 240.
don't he wasn't that great last year. I
Yeah,
mean, I
I didn't
think
see him.
Juwan Stone could be okay from Cal Baptist.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
they
you
also
know
have
what?
like
I did see him.
they also feel like JUCO guys who got some solid rebounds, like This guy Miles Jenkins, a guard
Kyle
from
Heyman seems
Anderson,
decent as
BT.
well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know a ton about like their bench guys, but I mean, I think that they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of depth, maybe
Yeah.
like a lot of
I
guys that
just hope they
could.
don't underperform. They're another team that's been, kind of a team that you want to finish top three, and they've just been a little bit outside of that recently. So, but they're good
Yeah.
this year. Like, there's a lot
Mm,
I like this year. The guy I
yeah.
like the most is personally that guy from Frank Stain is definitely intriguing. Um,
Hmm.
he had like 36 in a game last year. I was looking at or something like that.
Did he?
Or no, that's the guy from he's second in Utah Tech school history and made 3-pointers, but he wasn't efficient. Like he just took a lot of them the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
Jelani
he has good
Stone.
size for a shooter though, at least.
Yeah, Jelani Stone was the guy who scored 36 in a game last year
Okay,
against
he
some.
did.
Yeah, no, it says it in his bio on SF Austin.
He averaged like three
Uh,
points per game.
yeah, I know. Look
Okay,
at
let
his
me.
game logs. I looked at it last night and I was like, what the hell? It was against some like D2 though, but
Yeah, it doesn't
it was very
count.
cool to see. I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. But yeah, no, I
He
hope
did have
he gets some
36
time.
against West Coast Baptist. They won
Yes, sir.
132 to 46. He went 15 to 16 from the field.
Yeah, no, it was really funny to see. But no, I feel like maybe he gets some minutes off the bench or something.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
definitely
for
one of the
sure.
wild
For sure.
cards. But no, SF Austin should be improved from last year. I definitely think so.
And they were good last year too.
And they
So,
were. No, they weren't that bad.
um, but yeah, next is Southern Utah. I have them last in the conference
I
11th.
have them 10th.
There's
Yeah.
just like who's going to be good in this team? Like Housley, like okay, like he hasn't played in college yet. Zion Young, um, I mean, was like hurt most of last year. I think the injury really held him back from what he used to be. And even then, he was good at Oakland and Western Illinois in the past, but
Yeah, I
he was
saw
all right.
him.
They have Jamari Sibley, who I doubt will be eligible, but he's a former four
Donovan
star.
Kames from Link Prep. It's someone that somewhat jumps out at me, but I mean, I just don't see a lot on him here.
I think Jameer Simpson's going to be good.
Yeah, okay.
Coming
Six
from
five.
UW Parkside, average like
Mm-hmm.
15 points a game there. I think they're just solid
Solid shooter.
D2.
Um, yeah, like the guy I see, and like I said, Dominique Ford, I feel like is gonna be arguably the number one. He had 31 points in a game
Who are they
against
playing?
Northwestern Indian. Um,
Check that.
7 of 13 from three, so he has some shooting ability, hopefully. He's played in 31 games and started in 16 of them at Idaho. So he was a quality starter. He had 15 points, 6 of 7, 3 for 3 against Sac State. Um, and yeah, no, he they beat Montana State actually at home, and he had 16 points in that game too. So
Okay.
he had 32 he had 32 threes on 40% shooting from three. He averaged 6 and 2 at Idaho, but I feel like he's somebody that can get better.
Yeah. Oh,
He's a
they're gonna need
junior.
someone to
He's
get
six
better.
five.
Someone's gonna have to score.
Someone's gonna have to learn how to play ball.
They also have
So
Harrison Reed, who is I think he can
yes,
shoot a ball. Former St. John's commit. Probably never should have been a St.
St.
John's commit, but
John's.
he was a Mike Anderson St. John's commit.
What was Mike Anderson cooking?
I don't know, but I mean, if you can get a guy that was committed to a high major at St. John's
Yeah, I get
and
it. I get it.
Southern
And
Utah,
his
then
isn't his son on the team, Robert Jeter?
yeah, I think he's a walk on. I think he was on Western Illinois too,
He's
but
from Madison.
mm,
Nah,
but
it's rough.
yeah, it's gonna be tough. I don't understand the hire, but like I don't know, maybe they're I don't know. They have 4.16 returning minutes um
Nice.
from last year, so that's not a lot. But the number one team last year was Utah Valley, um, and I had them seventh this year.
Oh, I have them four. I think there's a lot to like about this roster still.
And they have
Yeah,
like no returners either. I mean,
mm-hmm. But
like
they're
Drake Allen's gonna be good, but like outside, I think Dorius is gonna be good. I think Toolson could be all right. Like I don't really like having Caleb Stone Carroll starting. Like
yeah, he's
Kamani Dowdy,
intriguing.
like
I will say Carroll was pretty efficient in Austin P. I mean, he shot 40%. It's passable. Um, you know,
It's not
Ethan
super
Potter,
efficient.
yeah, Ethan Potter was decent.
Yeah,
Later on in the season. Um, no, I just feel like McClanahan can take a step up. Osiris is going to be good on the boards.
yeah,
Drake Allen, Kamani Dowdy's decent. Um, and yeah, no, I expect big things from Holcomb. I think Holcomb is going to be the real wild card here if he can contribute off the
hmm
bench and really take a step up. 6'7", 207. Um, he's big.
yeah,
He's definitely someone that intrigues me. And I love their coach, man. I think Phillips is tremendous. I think he's
yeah,
going to really surprise people with how good he is. He's from the Mark
yeah.
Matson
I mean,
coaching
he's
tree.
he's it's not new for him.
Right.
Um,
And I feel like they're gonna overperform this year, and not take a huge step off, personally.
well, I mean, they're going to take a huge step down, but they may
Oh
not
yeah.
take as big as what some people think. Do you think Drake Allen can be number one guy?
Yeah, I do. Like,
Okay, he's
I
going to have to be, but like, I don't know if he's
there's
really
some
like
other
an
guys that can help him though. Like I think
yeah,
Tolson can step up and be a pretty good scorer. Holcomb hopefully can help him off the bench. McClanahan's gonna have to take a step up in scoring.
yeah.
Carrawell can score a bit. Dorius is good around the rim. Um,
He's really efficient, good rim protector. Just I don't
mhm.
know how long he can actually stay in the
Yeah,
floor for.
and
Um,
Potter's gonna have to take a bit of a step up as well. So
yeah.
yeah, just definitely again, I'm kind of treating them like Cal Baptist, like you are. So I need a lot of guys to kind of take a step up, but they have a really good coach. I like him. He's from a great tree, and I see them not falling completely off. I think they'll still be in the top five. And yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's see. I'm trying to think of the tiers in this conference. Obviously, Grand Canyon is number one. I think Seattle and Stephen F. Austin are kind of in. I don't know. There's also a gap between like UT Arlington at 8 and UT Rio Grande Valley at 9, I think.
Huge. Man, I don't think they're
Um,
close, even with Philip Russell not getting a waiver.
yeah. Yeah. Any other notes on the WAC before we end the podcast?
Yeah. I just hope Philip Russell gets a waiver, man.
I do too.
It's gonna be a really fun team if he does.
It will be. I hope he gets a
And
waiver.
UT Arlington used to be good. Like I think maybe like 3 or 4 years
Yeah,
ago.
and
They
they
were
fired
awful
Scott
last.
Cross.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh gosh. Don't even get me started on that.
They have a
And
new athletic. They have a new administration now,
that's good. That's good.
so
Because
they're
they
not
completely
going to
screwed
fight.
their program over
They're not going
that.
to fire Turner if he starts winning.
Right. God forbid, man. Winning's
Yeah.
bad. Winning's bad.
I do like Turner though. I think he's been at like Kentucky, some other really high
Right.
like
No,
programs like
they're
that.
definitely like the wild card team to me.
Yeah, for sure. Like
Um,
I think they have a ton of potential, but
then Cal
waivers.
Baptist, like I think that's
Yeah,
another team, with a lot of former P5 talent. So
yeah.
there's some excitement in this conference, but obviously it's not near the same as last year. Like
hmm
you're probably looking at a top 20 conference. Maybe Grand Canyon, with how good they are this year, boosts them up a
Yeah,
little bit because they're
they're
gonna
not going
be
to be 11th
really
this
good.
year.
They're not gonna be 11th this year, that's for damn sure.
Nah.
So
But Grand Canyon, still watch Grand Canyon. That's
mm-hmm.
definitely going to be something to see. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow for the Summit League podcast.
That's gonna be a fun one.
It's going to be a podcast, but yeah, we will see you then. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channels and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts if you're listening there. Uh, give us a follow on our social media accounts at Hoop Scoop Media, Instagram, Twitter/X, all of that fun stuff. And we will see you tomorrow for the summit.